Follow your heart. Just go.
Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show to help you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 366, special guest, Vivienne Aerts. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host. I'm here today, and it's a great day here today in the home studio with my producer, Mr. Sean Kilgore.
Hello, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it. I didn't mean to
we also are going to have a special guest in a few minutes. So Sean's going to intro that. But friends, welcome. Sean and I are always so happy to be with you and to bring you the show, and so honored to receive your support, both emotional and spiritual. And I should say, I guess I shouldn't say both, but because it's three, and financial. We're so happy to bring you the show and honored to support your journey. And I'm really excited about today. Anyway, help me welcome my producer, Mr. Sean Kilgore.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for that introduction. It's going to be a good day. It's a good day. Today's Monday, June 23rd. Welcome to episode 366 of the Experience of the Soul podcast. We have a great show, a truly sensational guest lined up for you today. Before we get to that, as always, we want to bring you This Week in Spiritual History. So it's time again to take a look back at some powerful and inspiring moments from spiritual history, moments that still have something to say to us today. So starting with number one, June 23rd, is St. John's Eve. So we begin this week with St. John's Eve, celebrated every June 23rd, just as summer is getting into full swing, and trust me, we're feeling that in here in Florida. So this is the eve of the birth of John the Baptist, but it's also kind of a nod to like older summer traditions like bonfires and herbs and joyful gatherings and that kind of thing. Yeah. We also refer to it as a festival of light and renewal, and an invitation to release what no longer serves us and step into our transformation.
Beautiful, Sean. Wow, that's a wonderful idea for today. Perfect.
Yeah. I'm sure you grew up having bonfires were a huge thing for us in the summertime, every summer.
Yeah.
It was kind of a thing that we did. Number two, William Penn's Treaty, June 23rd, 1683, is when William Penn, founder of Pennsylvania and a devoted Quaker, signed a peace treaty with the Lenape people, which what's incredible is that it wasn't based on domination, but mutual respect and fairness. So it's sort of remembered as a treaty that will never be broken or was never broken, and sort of a living example of spiritual integrity.
And I noticed there are the Quakers again, featuring prominent in history and peace. Yes.
Yep. Big time. Big time. And the entire month of June is what's known as the month of the Sacred Heart to the Catholic tradition. It honors the Sacred Heart of Jesus this time of year, a timeless symbol of divine love and emotional healing. This actually dates back to the 1600s. This devotion continues to inspire many people to open their hearts more fully to compassion and connection. And finally, just for fun, June 25th, Wednesday of this week, is Global Beatles Day, y'all. It's a celebration of peace, love, and the Fab Four, reminding us through music that all you need is love.
There you go. Let it be. Let it be.
Let it be. Let it be. So as you move through your week, friends, where are you being called to let the light in? Walk with integrity or stand in love with a little Beatles joy in your heart.
There you go. Thank you, Sean. Love those. Love those. Yeah. That was a good spiritual history one. All inspiring ideas. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. So, friends, we are so excited to welcome our guest today. Today we have, like I said earlier, this truly sensational human being artist returning to the show. So this is her second visit here with us. Vivienne Aerts is an incredibly versatile Dutch-born vocalist, composer, psychologist, and educator whose music is as expansive as it is intimate. Her sound blends jazz, improvisation, layered vocals, and world textures to create what we can only describe as a living, breathing soundscape of the soul. Her newest album is called Typuhthâng and brings together over 100 female musicians from around the world, and even pairs with a bar of chocolate, with the proceeds supporting women cacao farmers in the Congo. Before we jump into it, though, we want to give you a little taste of her work. So without further ado, this is the first track, the first single off of the album. This is called Just Go. We just have a little clip here to share with you.
The road is lost and you don't know where to start. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. Follow your. Just go.
Truly stunning music, friends. You have to check her out if you have not yet. There's so much heart and detail woven into every layer of her music, and her whole approach to music is really deeply spiritual, deeply collaborative, and deeply rooted in the idea of lifting others through art. So we are pleased, so pleased and honored to welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast, Vivienne Aerts. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you.
We are really blessed, Vivienne, to have you back. And I wanted to share with you what happened the first time I heard this track. And it brought it up again, too, because when it came out, it was a real time of disconnection in the world. And I remember when I first heard it, I immediately teared up because I could feel the energy and the connection of so many people. I didn't know how many, I'm on your email list and everything, but I just, hit play because I knew, knowing you, it was going to be a beautiful experience. But it did transport me, and it reminded me of our interconnectedness. And I just wanted to start with that because I feel like in all of your work with TED and your kind of multi-sensory experiences with food and art and music, and then this latest project, this CD, this recording, it brings something to life that we are all deeply, deeply needing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's so important to connect in a deeper way. And yeah, this whole album that I created was like beyond anything I could have imagined. Everybody added their parts to it, and every song is different, right? There is not only a choir, there's also a song with a big band and a song with a string quartet. But yeah, that first track was like it blew myself away. I didn't know what to expect because I sent the parts out like, hey, can you sing the alto? Hey, can you sing the soprano? It's 20 singers all over the world.
Oh, okay.
The album covers 40 countries. So they're from all different places, and they're amazing, each individual. And then so I wrote this song I think 2 years before the album started, and then I made this like just a me and myself version on tape just to remember it. And so I sent that to my friend Linnea Lundgren from Sweden, and I asked her to make an arrangement for choir. And she created all the different layers of voices, and then she put it on the paper, and that's what we send out to all the individual singers, together with a click track, so they hear, the guy.
That's what I was going to ask. If it was a click track or what. Yeah. That's amazing.
And then I got all of these parts back, and I produced it. I had to clean it all up because if 26 people breathe, it's going to be a lot of. So you take that out and you wind them up, and so there was a lot of production involved. And
you do all of that engineering also yourself? Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, and then after that, I had a mixing engineer, Jess Fenton, who is here in New York, and the master engineer in the Netherlands, Maria Triana. So it was every song was a different approach because of the different bands.
Different styles. And
but yeah, with this choir, we just recorded all the parts and then put it together. And at the very end, I decided to add there's little birds in the beginning of the track, and those birds are actually a field recording that I didn't make. This journalist from the BBC Radio, Penny Taylor, she went to Congo to interview these women, female cacao farmers.
Yes.
About the chocolate that comes with the album. That was the whole concept, right? Oh, I want to support. This is amazing. There's 1,500 female cacao farmers in the Congo, and they're doing it. They're empowered to make the business and decide what to do with the money and send the kids to school and grow the business. And they're really making a change over there. So Penny Taylor from the BBC Radio she was able to go in 2016. It's quite a dangerous place, especially, I mean, now it's the worst, but at the time, during 2020, 21, we couldn't go to Ebola. There was Corona. There was militia. There's so much uranium gold hidden in those jungles.
Yes,
everybody's really unstable.
Yeah,
This cacao story is such a success that I figured, let's just put this bar of chocolate with my music, because my husband works in chocolate, right? So that's how we got to it. And then obviously on the album needed to be a bunch of women. So I just went through my list, and it just became a very, very long list, because I know so many amazing people, and it just became longer and longer. And I figured, well, not all on one song, so I just spread it out over different songs.
Just spread it on over the whole album.
But yeah, the field recording of these birds fitted perfectly with this first song.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. And I think too, the piece that that we're always working with on the show is to collaborate, to lift up, to empower. It's like, even though we have access to more information than ever, we seem to be getting dumber by the day. And what I'm trying to do, what we're seeking to do through the show, is awakening, enlightening, support, lifting up, empowerment, collaboration, leadership through cooperation and collaboration, really. And then as individuals, we're seeking to grow, prosper, and evolve. It's kind of our anchor that we come back to. It's like, this is a part of our purpose. And through all of your work, this is what I see. And I know when we talked before, because I actually met you through, a mutual friend. And I knew that you had a deep meditative practice. I knew that, as you sang, this space that you go into as well is really trusting that, and I'm sure psychologically it'd be called the unconscious, right? The collective unconscious. But in fact, I would call it God or spirit, but I believe we're all saying the same thing, and that your creation comes out of that. So I'd love to hear, if you don't mind sharing with us. I know our listeners would love to know a little bit about the way you connect spiritually, if there's something significant about your practice that you feel has enabled you to do some of this. Because from my perspective, I am always looking through that lens when I talk to you. And even when I listen, I can hear your spirit connection because of the way things come forward. I can feel the order and the complexity in what other people might see as chaos. I can see that divine thread running through it.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of trusting that inner voice. The world is intense, so there's a lot of distractions in general, and then there's the news, and then there's life and personal connections. So it's a journey. You go in and out of it, but with music, it's a matter of knowing whatever is possible, right? So you can study, this is a chord, this is a scale. If I sing high, then I use some technique, or if I sing, there's certain information that you can study. But in addition, once you're in that space, you just let those things go. You just trust whatever comes out is the right thing. And that's the same with producing this album. I trusted my friend Linnea to make the perfect arrangement. So I didn't micromanage her. I gave her a song with lyrics and
like here's the stuff.
There's a crazy string arrangement, for example, on this album called The Way You Touch My Hand, and it's quite intense. And people might love it or hate it, but it's modern classical experimental, and it's violins doing and then there's this quiet. There's this sweet voice on top of crazy violin players and cello, and so I just remember asking my friend Marielle Roberts, who is, cellos are scared of her, right? And, can you make my song into an arrangement for string quartet? And she's like, yeah. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, you do you, because I want you to do
Are you
what
sure?
you do in your way, in your style. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. So I got it back, and it was crazy strings, and I didn't know. Basically, the chart, the paper didn't say where I start my song. I mean, I wrote the song, but there was a lot of and so I trusted it, and I figured it out. And my melody lays perfectly on top of the chaos. So I trusted it to be, and I mean, you could still love it or hate it. But yeah, I just love the process of that. The same with the last song on the album. It's a Cuban bolero big band. And I asked my friend Zaili Zamora Gonzalez. She's in Boston. She's also just like me. We're both teachers at Berkeley, and I asked her, "Hey, can you make an arrangement of this song that I wrote?" And I always do this particular song, "What Will We Be?" That's the title. I do that like a jazz.
Oh yes, I love that one.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make it a bolero in like Cuban style for big band," and I'm like, "Yeah." Cool. I will find out.
Okay.
And it came out so well.
It's a great tune. And the one I was listening to, the whole album, the one I was listening to earlier today that I love also is You're My Morning.
Oh yeah, that's so cute. Yeah.
So sweet.
It's about a long distance relationship that I had with Teddy before. I mean, we're almost married 10 years, 9.5, right?
Right.
December is going to be 10 years of being together. Yeah. So
congratulations.
The first couple of years were long distance because I was in Boston.
That's what I thought, and he was
still in the Netherlands. Now he's here too. But it's trusting the process, and that goes in ups and downs because you cannot sometimes you just like there's moments, right? But once you take that breath and once you reconnect with that inner
source
or however you want to call it, the space or the moment or chi, or the answers. And I think it might not be sexy but I think
exactly
empathy and breath and connection and compassion, that's so hip, but it might not be so sexy. And I think that should change because that's the
real work. That's the real work. Yeah, we're talking about that a lot, both on the show and in these Monday night talks I've been doing. Because I now have a spiritual network where people gather every Monday night, and it's the authenticity that we're finally getting to because of the trust that's built over time. That there's a space where if somebody needs to really open that space and need to have tears, or they need to laugh at themselves, or they need to say, this is just up for me and I'm feeling very unspiritual, or I'm feeling superhuman right now, and not spiritual at all, that there's, space for that. And what everyone seems to be vibing with and learning is that is the growth itself. And I keep saying, I've said those same words. I've said, it may not be sexy, but you sitting here crying in front of this group is the most spiritual thing you've ever done. And now that growth, that renewal, that clearing out of that energy and that source coming up and out, it's like you've just made the space. But until we, get real with our process, that's never going to happen. And there's not like 5 steps to happiness that you can do. As all the self-help people like to tell us, that it's really a day-by-day, moment-by-moment process of choosing to be real, authentic in the moment, breathing into what is and seeing what comes forward. That's my experience of it.
Yeah, totally. I totally feel that. Yeah, it's just keeping on it and reminding yourself that, truth is possible.
Yes. And so many of our listeners too, we've been talking about ways to reconnect and reground. And for so many of us, we've said it's the simplest things. It's being outside and just being with the tree, not necessarily doing a walk or an activity, but being still, being quiet, being just one of the things I do here. I live in the city, but have a large backyard for the city. And there are a few little trees that I kind of have my way, my ways and things I do. And I will just be there and feel that breeze and just sense in that moment, everything I need to know comes forward in that moment. Mm-hmm. But if I'm running around and doing all this stuff, I will never contact it. It's just wild how much is available to us if we can just stop and be present to it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And it doesn't take long, right? You can just take one breath and that's it. It's like
that's it.
10 seconds and you're there. You're back to being a human or a body. You're back to being a body instead of a big head.
Yes.
Or a big brain.
It's a good way to put
it.
Right.
Yeah. Becoming very present to, And it's like all of a sudden emotion, soul, intellect, those all get aligned. And I talk so much about these practices that because of the importance that you're right, when you practice it enough, it does not take much to go back there. One of my favorite things our mutual friend Kenny Werner says is you create that place inside yourself so it becomes easier to go back there. That's a direct quote from one of those meditations I'm still doing 20 some plus years later. I just did all 4 of them this weekend. And it's so true. Now I just hear it and boom, it's there. It's not a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Can I ask about kind of your process a little bit? Mindful improvisation is something that you refer to. Mm-hmm. So do you meditate before you begin working or creating? Is that what that entails? You did a lecture on that, I believe, right? On mindful improvisation. Yeah.
Well, many times people feel nervous when they have to improvise because they want to sound good. But then that defeats the purpose of improvising because then you're not free, right? So any sound is the right sound, basically. And that's what's like Stephen Nachmanovich says in his book, Free Play.
Yes.
And Barry Green with the Inner Game. There's 2, right? Inner game of tennis and inner game of music is there as well. They collaborated.
We'll be sure to put those in the show notes. I'll grab those and put them in the show notes for everyone. That's awesome. Go on. The
creative process, the most scary thing is the empty page. Is the moment you have to jump on. And why? Because you have expectations. You have these needs, this desire, these pictures of yourself that you paint. And that's not helpful. So practicing that outside of the practice room throughout the weeks and the days, then that's so very helpful. And that could be small. That could be just doing one note, singing one note, or just putting your hands on the piano, or just hitting a drum, or watching your little niece or nephew play an instrument because they don't have a filter.
They don't have a filter. They just go and go for it.
A lot of my friends, they most of them have kids and they're adorable and they just jam, right? So making sound from that space will actually set you up for success because you can make any sound and then you can study, this is a concept, this is a construct, maybe I can go faster, maybe I can slow, or maybe I can go high, or right? You can adapt different, pieces of information, knowledge into that. Mindset where the sky's the limit. Yeah, because if you set off with like, it needs to be good, or I don't know, you already feel tensed up.
Right.
Yes, that expectation of self and what should be.
Mm-hmm. It seems like an idea that like even if people aren't musicians, people can get something out of this idea of of getting out of your head essentially and just going for it, right?
Well, I mean, right. Think about how often, even in conversation, we're preloading what's going to happen and what's going to say, and thinking we know what the next moment is going to be. And I think if more of us showed up this way in life and in the moment, things would go a lot better.
Yes.
Yeah. Like take it as it comes, kind of.
Well, yes. And I think one of the keys in all of this is to, really stay curious about what's next and not think we know. The thinking we know, I think it becomes a barrier to experiencing something new, because we're already pre-planning what's going to happen. And it seems to me, well, and go ahead, Vivienne.
Well, the experiment is also part of that process, right? It frees you up if you really can give into the discovery and the experiment, and you'll feel more free.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I was going to ask about was, are you doing this work with students, or what's the work you're doing with students now at Berklee? I don't think the last time we spoke you were on staff there. So, and maybe you were, but.
Yeah, I've been working for Berklee for over 10 years. And only the last couple of years I've been teaching. And the courses I teach are mindfulness related. I teach them also a lot of experimental improvisation, but with a mindfulness approach. So, because experimental music, there's also a history to it. Because free jazz, there's like legends that became famous for doing free jazz. So you could choose to have a history class where you study all these people that are, or you could say, for this purpose of this class, we just make sound and connect on a deeper level and see what comes out, and we improvise in the moment. So that's the path I'm taking with these classes. It's free improvisation ensembles.
Awesome. So lucky students. Those are some lucky students, right?
Yes, and I had a tap dancer, a harpist, a cellist.
Oh, really?
A drummer that played piano, a singer with electronics. So they're all like different corners of. I mean, Berklee's big. We have 7,000 students.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
so there's a lot of variety, and not everybody's super jazz. There's all the different styles: pop, rock, funk. Everybody has different interests. So my students are like very, very diverse. I love it.
Awesome. You mentioned electronics. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So I watched a couple of your live videos too, and so the way you just layer your own voice with that is such a cool thing. I don't really have a question about it. I just want to say I think that's really cool.
Well, you should get the app too. It's an iPhone app, but it works better on iPad if because it's bigger. The screen is bigger. But if you have an iPhone, and it's also cool if you have like little niece or cousins or like friends of. Even kids can do it. So you just the screen will be all little circles, and then you press start and stop, and then you can do the next layer. And I mean, you can go wild and just you can make it crazy. But it's a really fun app. It's called Loopy, Loopy.
Oh, because of the way it loops. Yes. Very good.
Awesome.
I use a lot of different apps at the same time, but this is my favorite, Loopy. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a very cool thing to see. Yeah,
it is. Well, and I love the simplicity of it, because sometimes the tech can get in the way when there's all this tech, and then it's hard to be in the moment when you're worried about what to do and press and well, one of the questions I had about working with all these different students, different instruments and everything, do you see things kind of begin to organize on their own out of the chaos? Because I have seen that in a different situation. I just wondered if that was your experience. Does it do chords naturally come together? Do harmonies naturally happen? What are you seeing? Because to me, those are divine patterns,
Yeah, but it is. It organizes, and there's so many happy accidents. Right?
Yes.
That everybody is surprised because nobody's leading. Sometimes somebody's leading, right? There's different exercises we do, and sometimes we work with a pattern or a rhythm, or so we do certain exercises. But if it's like no assignments, then it will, most often the music will start to grow intense, and then everybody's like, whoa, what's happening? And then at some point everybody's like, the music is done, and everybody's like, huh? we made an end to this piece. So it's like a take on an album.
Yes. Well, one time, I've had this kind of pattern thing happen musically and spiritually. Like one time I was in this breath work, and it was holotropic breath work. And it was in a room full of people, and it was around the 2012, what was it? 2012. Anyway, it was around that time, the yacht and all that. And at one point in the breath work, so everybody's eyes are closed, right? And we're all lying down, but there were some beautiful tracks, organized to take you through the chakras and everything. And towards the end, every single person was going like this, making the shape of the yod as they were meditating. And it kind of happened one at a time, as they were doing the breath work, one over here and one over here. And pretty soon the whole room was like this. And then it got to start getting to the higher chakras. Everybody put their arms down, done. I mean, it was like watching a visible movement of spirit. And I just had the sense that you had seen and experienced that, and you had. Yeah. It's just, it's amazing how energy flows.
I took this, I went to Bobby McFerrin's Circle Song event twice.
Yes.
It was a couple summers ago, and the summer before that, just after COVID, we finally got together, and it was like around 150 or 200 people in a big space. The first time it was in Freight and Salvage in near Berkeley, California. And the second time was in this amazing church in San Francisco. And for a whole week, we did like choirs, circle songs, improvised. So you're in a circle with all these voices and everybody's improvising. And sometimes there's somebody in the center of the circle giving parts out. And sometimes it's just organic and it just flows some. And sometimes somebody's improvising on the top of it. So it's really dynamic. So the last day was a 24-hour unbroken circle, and I went on it, and I just did it 24 hours of singing. So we started at noon, and all through the night got more intense. People get tired. Some people passed, like, they went to the hotel for an hour, but I stayed.
You were like, I'm not missing it.
But I did have some water, so there was those micro breaks, but I was there for the whole 24 hours, and it got more intense. So 2 a.m. somebody stepped into the circle and like started just telling a story that was like heartbreaking. And I remember it was so intense because this lady was like, yeah, I know everybody's getting older, and that's my knees are getting old and my face is getting old, and that was okay, but that everybody would pass away when you're getting older. Nobody told her. And then somebody next to me started crying like loud, and everybody was still doing on top of the narration of this lady in the center.
Beautiful.
And then they're comforting her, and it was so intense, really unbelievable. It was really beautiful. And then we went through the night, and 6 a.m. it's like, okay, we're only a few hours until noon, right? 6 a.m. I remember just bursting out my high notes and like waking up patterns and stuff. It was really amazing. So at noon the next day we were done, and it was so joyful. Everybody was there. Bobby was there, and I walked out of the building because we had done it. And the whole world was vibrating. The grass was like,
wow.
My toothbrush was like, everything was tonal.
Yes, I bet. I
was like high on the sound.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like your whole body was.
Right?
It is. It is.
But also all these people connect being on the same page for that. Yeah, for that experience. Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, and I can feel it energetically. I know our listeners can. I'm always amazed how even online the energy translates. If we drop into a space, it's felt, and I can feel that, with you now. And before, I mean, because I know we're basically out of time, but I wanted to ask just what was next for you and how we can be of support on the show. I mean, are you still doing the I mean, can you still buy the CD and the chocolate and is that still a thing? And
that's all on the thing. Yeah, we did tours in Korea and New York and Europe with songs and desserts. And then you can buy the album, but I also have vinyl. So there's a CD with a book and there's vinyl, and then the chocolate comes with it. So it's then you can read all about it. In the little book, I even made like a cover of the book from cacao pulp paper that we screen printed. We got really wild on the whole thing.
That's beautiful.
But coming up is even, I don't know, it's maybe equal crazy, but this summer.
This is why we love you. This is why you're on. We like crazy.
Well, it's published and we did tour it, and it's then I decided to do a podcast interviewing all these women. So I have this podcast
great.
called Vivi Talks, and I already have like 45 women of the album that I interview. So we just talk about stuff and music and creativity. So that's been really nice to connect with them on a deeper level. So then, that was pretty much the album came out 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was 23, right? Yeah, I thought it was.
So it's time for a new album. So I figured, what's next? Maybe just go as crazy as. But so this is the plan.
Okay, let's hear it.
In the Netherlands, we have the tiniest sailboat. We bought it during COVID for 250 euros. It's just wood, no house on the boat, no toilet. There's nothing on the boat. It's just a boat with sails, and it's like 10 square meters or so, right? It's really small, and we're gonna stay on it. Build a little tent on top of it. We're gonna sleep on it, my husband and I, for 2 weeks in August, and sleep on it and produce the new album. So I have a underwater microphone. I'll bring like the nice vocal mic. I bring some keyboards, some battery powered amps, and car batteries, lock cables, a super pointer mic that looks like a light.
Right.
We'll document. We have a drone and all. Yeah, so it's gonna be just me on this boat producing songs about water and life, and going back to my roots, and then slowly sailing to. I mean, we cannot record when we sail, but
yes, of course.
Eventually, we'll float to Amsterdam, and then some musicians will jump on and record some parts as well.
I love that.
We definitely can't wait.
But it's really basic. But in the Netherlands, there's no mountains. We don't have really wildlife. It's lakes, it's canals. It's really safe, and so you have coffee places and restaurants everywhere on the water, so you can jump off.
You can jump off and
fine. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't get much more elemental than water. I mean, that's like primordial beginning.
Right.
I mean,
totally. And it's actually about that. I wrote a lot of songs with lyrics that are related to these things. The title of the album is going to be called Current, which has multiple meanings.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It will be released on UN World Water Day in March next year.
Excellent.
So it's going to be crazy in multiple ways. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because next week I'm going to be doing a talk on water. Yeah,
right.
That's right.
So, yes,
perfect.
Yes,
we stay on topic.
And then earlier this month, we did a program about dolphins, and I'm going to talk about the water as elemental and such as that. So we're looking at the spirituality and lessons basically from the wild. So I'm going a little bit different direction to help people deepen their understanding. So once again, Vivienne, our work is similar, and I just feel honored to know you. And I want to wish you and Ted the best. I thought you might say you and Ted were going to do some big thing. I wasn't expecting the
sailboat. He'll be there on the boat documenting.
Yes.
But no chocolate, no pastries on the boat.
He has a good year. Yeah. I mean, the sound on the water, you know, it's
that's
in
going
the
to be.
middle of the water. It's so quiet and it bounces off the lake. And yeah, yeah.
Well, it's funny. Years ago, I was on a ferry in Seattle and I was doing a lot of drumming then. I had a lot of hand drumming. And there was a certain rhythm that the water was making. And to this day, that rhythm lives in me so strongly. Every time I pick up a drum or I'm doing something rhythmic, it's like right there. And somehow it was the water that like brought it to life in me. I don't think any other way it would have. So I'm excited for you to experience that for that long. And I think it sounds like it will be a beautiful experience, both for you and Ted, and how wonderful for your relationship and for your careers.
Yeah.
And love you both. Wish you the best. And I can't believe it took me this long to get back on the show because you're always a blessing to me. And we are honored to have you on. And of course, we will be sending you the links and hopefully you will share. Anytime we can make the show available to more people around the world, that excites us because we believe so strongly in the soul as a point of connection for all of us. So thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate having you and blessings on your journey and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, dear listeners. As always, it is a pleasure and a blessing to have you along the journey with us. And thank you for trusting us so deeply with your journey and with your hopes for the future. We're honored to support you. Thank you for your financial support. And we will look forward to seeing you next week.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support the podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2025 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore. A production of the Soulworks Group, Incorporated.